Quartet, Spring 1715. Hands tanned the colour of his leather apron, white blouse billowing, hair adrift. The luthier trudges the streets of Cremona, feeling every one of his 70 years. Delights in the light on Piazza San Domenico, the way the terracotta flames alive, the way colour and grain is conjured from timber, the way music is enticed from hair bowed on gut. Today, the seasons conspire against him. Cats scatter and skulk, resins will not dry. The borer creeps down the Po Valley, bearing cold from the Alps and moisture from Lago di Garda. Impatient, Antonio Stradivari tests the wood, leaves a thumbprint on the tacky varnish. Summer 1725. The stench from the lagoon offends the priest, otherwise delighted to hold his printed manuscript, the contest between harmony and invention. His ambition questions the obvious conceit buried in the names of the first 4 concertos. He loosens his red hair, watches the Sirocco, funneled up the Adriatic to Venice, flick the pages, wrapped in public adoration. On his death in Vienna, most of his fame and fortune extinguished, Antonio Vivaldi's passing was not mourned. His music was ignored. Manuscripts lost for 200 years found in that monastery in Piedmont in 1926. Autumn 1959. On Bennelong Point, work begins on the podium on which will sit the Sydney Opera House. Migrants sail past in their Sitmar liner, focused on the harbour bridge, not the building site. That exuberant cockatoo of a building, sails billowing in the sea breeze, remote as their future, as they head for Walsh Bay to disembark. This was long before the Philistines drove the Dane away, long before the building work was completed, long before Utzon died without seeing his conception, long before the main hall was refurbished 50 years after its completion. Winter 2022. The Strad is part of him. He stands brightly centre stage. Concert hall. Richter's 4 Seasons recomposed. The soloist applies his alchemy to the violin. Spring Zero begins with morning bird call. Sydney's winter sputters to a close, with the furnace of a sunset driven by the south wind. Synchronicity. At Ray Chen violin plays at Max Richter music, reimagining Vivaldi's 4 Seasons 300 years after their original composition on a 300-year-old Stradivarius violin in the renewed Sydney Opera House.